Oh, it's Thursday. You know what that means. That means it's time to ignite the dynamite of the day after it happened. And folks, this is Day After Dynamite. I am Will Washington, but I'm not alone here. Hey, you know this guy here. He's a guy that you usually hear me with every Saturday talking graps. It's Mr. Philip Lindsey.
What's going on, guys? I am in the building.
Yes, and we're, people have always asked me, like, when are you going to have Phil and Reg on Day After Dynamite? One, I'm like, y'all hear me with them every week. But we haven't gotten to do, like, a full-on, like, show breakdown together. And so I am happy to have Phil Lindsey here on Day After Dynamite. And then I'll have Reg on, like, probably real soon. But it's Day After Dynamite. And this was a highly anticipated episode, I will say, because this was live, Boston, Massachusetts, Agganis Arena, a venue that AEW's run twice before, and both times sold out. Although sold out is one of those terms that usually it's like if you reach over like at 99 or 98% capacity, we're like, okay, we'll call that sold out, because this was the most tickets they had sold in this venue. But the last time they were here, they also called it sold out. And the time before that, they called it sold out. But regardless, it's always a great venue for them. And Boston always turns out. This one sold out really quickly too. It's not like this is one of those ones that was like still selling to the last minute. Like, I want to say for the last maybe month and a half, they've only had like maybe 2 digits worth of tickets left. So shout out Boston coming through. And I knew a number of people who were there, by the way, because I know Jay Shell was there, Cody Carlson, host of RBR, was there, and I know Scott Lesh, always doing great photography, he was there as well. So that was really cool to see the venue packed like that, and they were packed in anticipation for a main event that saw the Young Bucks take on FTR. But we'll get there. How are you today, by the way, Phil?
I am still in Dallas hangover mode because it's like since I've been back, it's like trying to juggle stuff and been, kind of busy, and, also, dealing with my internal clock being kind of screwy from being up late in Dallas and, drinking lots of coffee. So, yeah, still a little bit hungover from Dallas.
Yeah, no,
cool.
Dallas, and same. I will say, if you watched me in Sean's podcast last night, or yesterday, there will be no breaking news on this one.
Nobody's going to call in. I thought for a second I was going to jump in and have to take over for Sean because he was like, take it away, Phil. And I thought I was going to slide in on another panel.
I know when he said that, I'm like, I don't see Phil here. What are you talking about? No, that was fascinating to see because, I don't know. I obviously have been around breaking news, but it was, I know for a lot of people that are commenting, they're like, that was fascinating to see in real time. It go from, okay, getting the phone call for the rumor, basically putting the rumor out there, then texting to verify, is this true? Got a confirmation that it was, and then publishing that it was, like watching that all in real time unfold. And then, like I said source also texted me an apology, just saying like, hey, sorry, I had to get that one out there though.
By the way, if I had slid in after you said that, that would have been pretty great. I've always wanted to just slide in and do color commentary for something. You know how they do the boxing matches and the guy will come in and he'll be like, okay, Jim. So yeah, so I always wanted to just slide in, just like have like a quick blurb and then that's it for the rest of the show.
Yeah. And hey, I want to see, and I'm being told my mic is low. Of course it is. That seems to be a common problem here. But you know what? We are going to raise this up. All right, tell me what you guys think of that, and if that's too loud, then I will bring it back down. But thank you, Damian Fresh, for letting me know that my mic is low. Keep me posted on these things throughout the show so I can fix them rather than hear it after the fact, and then I'm like, damn, I went a whole hour doing this show without my mic being at a good level. Hopefully that's good there. And yeah, if you want your comments about today's Dynamite or last night's Dynamite being heard on this show or read on this show, brought up on the screen, send us your super chats over at youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked, and we will try to get those out there and talk about it. A lot to talk about on this show. Still low is what I'm told. That's fun. All right, well, we'll just boost it up a whole lot more. How is that? Okay. I'm still being told still low. This is always fun audio for people. Or hell. And now I'm being told you're fine. Okay. Not going to spend much time playing with that anymore. Hopefully that's good. So, Grapsody is going to be on this Saturday. Don't forget to check us out. That's at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. That is at youtube.com/Fightful. So, this show kicked off with a much anticipated one-on-one match. We saw going one-on-one Adam Cole versus Christian Cage. I say much anticipated because this match was actually supposed to happen way back at Full Gear, back when the Super Elite was feuding with Jurassic Express, and it seemed like they were going with the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express just 2-on-2, and then Christian would face Adam Cole 1-on-1, but it ended up turning into the 6-man street fight that we ended up getting instead. And then we never really revisited the one-on-one between Adam Cole and Christian Cage. So we're finally back here, Adam Cole, Christian Cage, one-on-one. And man, I want more singles matches from Christian, because I thought that was phenomenal. Christian, to me, it is amazing how in 2022 this dude wrestles like his prime. It's hard to even address than what his prime was, because it's exactly the same. There's like not a missing step. It doesn't feel like there's anything that I see Christian doing today that I don't feel he couldn't have done before. Oh, it's a pop-in on day after Dynamite. It's the usual. Come on and say hi, Mr. Lambert.
Hi! I'm here because Phil's here, and I'm here to heckle everybody. How are you guys doing?
Hi. Come on, man. Hard at work during Mania weekend. Mr. Jeremy Lambert, the point guy.
Man. I'm so burnt out from Mania weekend, guys. So burnt out. But I was happy to see you guys have a bunch of fun and hanging out with some other pals and whatnot. Glad you guys had a good time down there, it looked like.
Yes, we did. And I don't know. When's the next time we get to see you?
I mean, I'm going to Dynamite in Pittsburgh, but I know that's not close for you guys. I think we're going to make All In like a regular thing. So
okay.
Assuming it's in Chicago and everything,
I will be there if it's in Chicago.
There you go.
I mean, everybody I've talked to seems to be under the impression that it's in Chicago. Like, when I talk to people from AEW, they just kind of like drop that. They're just like, oh yeah, well, we're going to be in Chicago for All Out and blah, and they just keep going. And I'm like, okay, is that like confirmed? Or are you just working off the assumption that it's always been in Chicago that's how it works? I'm not sure when they say that, because I'm like, I'm not taking that as confirmation.
Right.
But it feels like it's kind of confirmation, because you wouldn't be just saying that, you'd actually be making kind of travel plans. So I don't know.
Yeah. There's a chance. I just said this on our show. If Cody faces Roman at SummerSlam, I'll be at SummerSlam. I'll make the trip to SummerSlam.
That's Nashville, right?
That's Nashville. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do that. And then if Sean doesn't do Double or Nothing in Vegas, I might end up doing that one. So, and if the Avs are in the Stanley Cup Finals, I'll be in Denver. I'm gonna stay with you, and we'll go. I'm just booking myself to stay at your house. And we'll go to a game.
Behind that curtain right there is a guest suite. I actually don't care.
There we go. I'm booking myself. If the Avs are in the finals, I'm booking myself to stay with you.
Yeah. Well, either way, we will catch you eventually.
Yes.
Yeah, poor Will missed the Mr. Karaoke, because he got there like right when we left last
I
year.
know.
Yeah, I did. I walked in and everybody's like, "Oh, they just left." I'm like, what the hell? Like, what do you mean they like just left?
And we only ran into each other as like a chance in the parking lot.
Yeah,
Like-
at Now Arena. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was just all, but it all worked out and
That's it.
all was good.
All right, I just popped in to say hi since that's my running bit. I come on this show after my own show to say hi to you guys. Enjoy the show. Have a great show. Tremendous show last night, AEW Dynamite. One of the best lineups ever. Honestly, one of the best wrestling cards we've ever seen on AEW, on TBS. I'm pretty sure TBS was very happy with the ratings. I don't know what they were, but TBS is very thrilled with the demo ratings. Over 3 million viewers on TBS. Samoa Joe, one of the biggest stars in wrestling. We have Samoa Joe on AEW Dynamite. Did you watch FTR, Young Bucks, dream match, once in a lifetime dream match on AEW Dynamite. Have a tremendous day, guys. Bye.
I have seen the ratings and it's not that. But
3 million.
But what we did see was, like I said, Christian Cage. I don't know. Like I said, there's just something about him that, like, I keep waiting for him to not be the performer he once was. But, like, every time I see him, he continues to work exactly as he did in, like, 2000 and I don't know, what would you consider Christian's prime? I feel like to me it's like late Impact, like early WWE return to me.
Yeah, I would say probably that Impact run, probably his peak. Yeah, I just, I've seen people act like, what was the point of signing Christian? And I feel like last night was a pretty big indication of what was the point of signing him because, man, that was a pay-per-view quality match.
It was.
And Adam Cole has kind of become like the king of great opening matches because he's gotten away with like doing these main event caliber matches to start the show to kind of hook people that are coming from Big Bang Theory or whatever else to keep watching the show. And this was tremendous. And not only was the match good, but then we got the stuff afterwards where it looked like they're still teasing this heel turn with Christian, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well, so there were a couple of things. One, I had a few observations. I'm not one to harp on Adam Cole's size, though I do think that people who are good at it are funny. That said, it is interesting to think about the fact that in 2003, Christian was considered like a smaller guy, and it was always like, can Christian hang because he's not as big as some of the other dudes in WWE? And a dude like dwarfs Adam Cole.
Yes, he does.
And so that was like the first observation I could make as a longtime viewer that, again, Christian was never seen as that big, but up against Adam Cole, this dude is like a titan. And so, okay. But, yeah, they did continue to tease the heel turn. After the match, out came Red Dragon. They jumped Christian, which then led to the Hangman coming for the save. And massive pop, by the way. I know there's all this discussion about is Adam Cole or Adam Page working as champion, and should they take the belt off of him, blah, blah, blah. But, like, the thing is, regardless of any of that discussion, the one thing that hasn't changed, that hasn't waned, are the crowd reactions. He still gets biggest
super
pops.
Popular, man.
He's still very popular. Cowboy shit, still very over. I don't know. I don't feel like I would touch that. If there's a plan, and I feel like there is, for when his title reign is supposed to end, I wouldn't deviate from any plans right now.
No.
Because even though I think they're Double or Nothing, I don't think he's gonna hold it beyond Double or Nothing. But I just feel like Hangman, when his music hits,
he gets a pop every time.
Every time.
Yeah, I think it's mostly an internet discussion about how well his championship reign has gone, and I think it's mostly because other people want to see someone else as champion, whether it be Bryan or Punk or Cole or whoever else it is. But I think they've pretty much put their drawn their line in the sand to say, look, this guy is the champion. We've worked for over a year to build this story of making him champion, and I feel like the story they're telling of him being a competent fighting champion is a good one. I feel like every challenge he's taken, he's come out of it looking even more confident and even stronger.
I agree with all that. Honestly, I had a wrestler explain this to me, and I had this discussion with you, but I had a wrestler explain to me one time, and this is a WWE guy, and he kind of explained to me what people are missing about Cole, and I don't know if it's a bad thing, or not Cole, Page. Sorry, I got my Adams out here, but what they're missing about Adam Page, and why for a lot of people it's not clicking. And so I don't like to get into a whole lot of WWE discussion on the show because the show is not called Day After Raw or SmackDown. But I do want to note what's happening here. So, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It is just the thing. And again, this came to me. This was brought to me by somebody wrestled in WWE, and just kind of how things work there. So, it was explained to me the WWE machine, and that the WWE machine, the way it works, and the way wrestlers in WWE all understand it, is that the WWE machine has a direction that they choose. And when they choose said direction, everybody in the company is to be on board with said direction. And case in point, the WWE machine is currently behind Roman Reigns. And so the direction as far as the company is concerned is all about Roman Reigns. It is all about Roman is seen as the top guy. Roman is the guy that we put all our resources into. He is the guy we focus on. Everybody's job in that company is to essentially work toward getting Roman Reigns over, because the more Roman Reigns is over as the representative of the company, the better off we all are. And that is the understanding of the WWE machine. And it's not a new thing. That's how it was with John Cena. That's how it was with Hulk Hogan. That's how the company operates. When the machine chooses a guy, they put everything behind that guy. And NXT did that to an extent with Adam Cole, where it was Adam Cole was the guy. They picked Adam Cole and they said he is our guy, and no matter what else is going on in the show, the show is about getting Adam Cole over. Bottom line, he is who the machine is behind. AEW doesn't necessarily operate with a machine type mentality. That with Adam Cole moving forward as the top babyface, there isn't necessarily a machine that's kind of going, okay, everybody is to coalesce behind Adam. Did I keep saying Adam Cole? Adam Page. They are to get behind Adam Page and make sure that Adam Page is seen as the guy. AEW seems to be operating more just on a, this is happening here, this is happening here, this is happening here, this is happening here, and you as fans are free to choose what you are into or be into everything. But there isn't necessarily, like, you don't really get that mode of when other segments are happening, the commentators are still talking about Adam Page. Like, that's not really happening on this show, because that's not really how it operates. They don't really have the big machine that is behind the guy. And I feel like there's a lot of fans that need that need to kind of be told, just because that's what they grew up on and that's kind of the system they know. They need the feeling of, this is the guy who is the champ of the company, and he is the man that the company is behind, and no matter what else we do, he is the face. I feel like if people don't have that, they don't necessarily feel like somebody matters. And so there is a lot of discussion over, is Adam Page mattering as much as he could, when I feel like it's more so, I think he does. I just think that the company doesn't really have that kind of marketing force behind him the way that the way WWE works. And so without people having that, that's how they feel about him.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people last night saying that the difference they see in something like Roman, for example, is that Roman as champion starts the show, he does his long promo, or he ends the show and he does his long promo, and they don't do that with Hangman. And I actually feel the opposite. I don't need to see Hangman do that every episode, because I feel like it gets very formulaic. And I feel like, yeah, some people feel like they need to see that to feel like he's the big deal and he's the guy, but I still feel like when you look at, Hangman's additions to the show, when you look at his matches, he feels like the guy. Like right now, it feels like nobody can beat him. If you look at all of the wins he's gotten, he looks almost unbeatable.
Right, and I feel like that's going to be proven again next week. Speaking of which, I thought he had a good promo here.
Yeah.
And of course, then he goes and challenges Adam Cole. There we go. My Adam's right. He challenges Adam Cole to a Texas death match next week. And that kind of bugged me because I thought, isn't that what he had against Lance Archer just like a month and a half ago? Wasn't that a Texas death match? I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it was. And
it was, because I saw a lot of people saying not another death match.
Yeah, and not just that. Wasn't that match like not in Texas? And now we like are in Texas, and so
was it in Texas? Wait a minute.
I don't think that one was. I want to say that one was in. Now I am actually drawing a blank on what city that was in. That one wasn't the Atlantic City one, was it? I guess I have to look.
I think it was in Texas. I think it was in Dallas, wasn't it?
No, because they haven't had a Dallas show since. Hold on, let's see. Oh, I was right. Atlantic City. Holy shit.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, it was Atlantic City. Okay. There it is. I thought the trap had failed me. It had not. Yeah, that one was Atlantic City, and I remember thinking at the time why. I guess it's because Lance Archer's from Texas, but otherwise, there's not having a Texas death match in Texas, and now we are doing the Texas death match in Texas, but I feel like we just did that, so. I would like to see something else, but I recognize it's already been announced. And it's for next week's live edition of Rampage. So
I thought that was interesting as well. He put a lot of emphasis on it being a live episode. I don't know, man. I enjoy Hangman as champion. I enjoy that he has not backed down to any challenge. And I think that story works so well because it's an extension of what his story was for the first 2 years with the company. And I think without that context, some people might be mixing it. But I don't know. I really enjoy his growth as a character.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see where this one goes. And, of course, the winner of this, as was mentioned a couple of weeks ago, the winner of this will be likely CM Punk's opponent at Double or Nothing. So where are we going? I don't know. And we've got some super chats here. We will start with Ricardo, the bad guy, says, Bucks versus FTR popped me, then kept on popping me. Love that.
Really good match.
Jay Blood says, the only thing to do is lean into Hangman as your ace. Every chance they get to let Hangman play the fans' heartstrings, the better. They already love him. Put him in jeopardy. Have him overcome over and over. And Ricardo also says, the heel who beats Paige will get nuclear heat.
If it's a heel.
If it's a heel.
If it's Punk, it might be cheered.
I think Punk could beat him. Jay Blood says, Hangman now requesting the match that scared him 2 months ago is a bit of the too subtle progression we're seeing.
People aren't it's layers. You're not paying attention to the layers.
I kind of like that. Okay. I wasn't even thinking about that. Anyway, overall, match and segment combined, this was an easy B+ for me. It was a really solid match with Adam Cole and Christian, and then I thought Hangman came out with fire and intensity. It was good. It was real good.
Yeah, I agree. I think B+ is a really good grade for it. I think the only thing that stops it from being an A is that AEW does a lot of run-ins, and it was like sometimes it feels like all right, we've seen a run-in, we've seen Red Dragon and Adam come out and do the run-in, but I thought the way they handled the run-in this week was really good. I thought Paige again looked very confident, and he continues to look like a strong champion.
He does. And then we got the much anticipated Dynamite debut. Samoa Joe took on Max Caster. And I think the thing everybody was waiting for in this one was what was Max Caster going to say. And he didn't disappoint. did he. I thought Max Caster's rap, this was probably one of his best ones, I thought. Like, you could even see Samoa Joe's face of like, all right, that one stung a little bit. Called him injury prone. Mentioned the X division. And then noted that we beat NXT while you were champion. I thought those were some good digs. I don't think that last one was true because they weren't head-to-head at that time. But
No.
Either way.
Yeah, but hey, the best part about rap sometimes when you're in the diss is to lie. You know, the lies are the best part. But other than his freestyle being great, I thought the best part of it was my man Bowens coming around with the towel around his neck like Joe and throwing it. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, no, I had fun with this. I love Joe, and I'm glad that they did catch people up. Because I was worried that, hey, you know, Ring of Honor's pay-per-view did well. It did about 20,000 buys, but that's also like a drop in the bucket. That's 2% of the people that watch Dynamite. So it's like, okay, you do. I'm not one of those people who's like, okay, things have to be explained. Like, fans will mostly get it. But I felt like Ring of Honor, that's too niche. Like, you do need to explain things when it comes to Ring of Honor. And I was glad they showed the video package of Jonathan Gresham winning the title. As Jordan Grace pointed out, it's Jonathan Gresham's like network television debut.
yeah, pretty much. And they recapped all of the Jay Lethal stuff as well. Mm-hmm. I thought the way that they started this was great. Again, I think it's only a matter of time before the Acclaimed are baby faces. They're such a popular act. I think anybody that is discounting just how great they are in front of a live crowd, you're not paying attention when they come out because the crowd is clearly into them every time.
Yeah, and they had a new Tron this week. They updated all their graphics to be mostly of the color of their gear. I thought that was important actually when all of that hit. No, I was actually, the match was whatever. It was a basic squash. Caster got some offense in, but only after Bowens distracted. But this one gains a point because we saw the Muscle Buster again.
Yes, I was really excited to see the Muscle Buster again. I was surprised that he pulled it out this fast. But I feel like that was very intentional to let you guys know, like, nope, this is the Joe you're used to. This is no restrictions. And I was happy about that. And also, of course, we got the viral moment of him doing the shmoney dance, which was fantastic.
I was so great with that. That made me real happy. And it was just good to see Joe kind of having fun, but still being like in Joe's gonna kill you mode. Easy. This gets a B for me. I thought everybody kind of did their part here after the match. Actually, let's get your rating first.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you. I think a B is a good grade. I think it was a good way to reintroduce people to Joe. And, Caster did his part. He just went out there and took a beating and annoyed people like he usually does.
Yeah, I liked it. And then, of course, Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt are on the Tron. And Lethal is talking about why he's had his sudden change of heart, which, like, this is one of those things that's kind of within the continuity of the show. Like, that you really, if you've been watching Dynamite, everything here should make pretty perfect sense because you had 2 weeks ago Lethal lose to Cole, but he got very close. The week later, he lost to Moxley, but came very close. And then you got a video package that showed you he finally snapped this past week, and he turned. And then he was kind of explaining that. I thought Jay was actually fine here, and he's got a surprise. He's going to roll out the red carpet for Joe. What does that mean?
I don't know, but you mentioned something I forgot to mention that I enjoyed about the Christian Adam Cole match. I think we've been watching Adam Cole for weeks. Now that he's not on NXT and he's on, a main roster show. He has been pushed to the limits every time. He pulled out a lot of reversals this week and it still wasn't enough. He still had to cheat to win. And I just like that bit of storytelling of him stepping into a big league situation and him being kind of out of his depth.
I had thought about that. But that's pretty good. I hadn't thought about that at all.
Because he did the same thing last week in that match with Lethal, where he had to cheat to win.
He did. Yeah, I mean, and it is funny too because I think a lot of guys who came out of NXT, I think there's a lot of kind of misplaced stock, I think, put in both the Full Sail crowd and the CWC, in that there's a lot of things that were over with that one crowd of people, and it's a lot of the same people every week, that, like, it's really hard to gauge how over something is unless it's really touring from city to city, because you could be over in one city and not the next. And there were benefits to there's a benefit to being in the same city, and then there's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also then had, this was a favorite of mine. It went exactly as I thought it was going to go, but nonetheless, still happy with it. That's right, folks. The captain, Shawn Dean versus Shawn Spears, the battle of the Shawns. And we knew where this was going, but nonetheless, I was still happy with exactly how it went. Shawn Dean is now 2-0 against members of the Pinnacle. Shawn Dean already in the ring, and Shawn Spears gets his entrance. The full entrance, by the way, the one he's been doing for like 3 years. And he gets full entrance. They have a match where, and MJF is on commentary, by the way. And they keep using MJF on commentary to promote the show Rat in the Kitchen. I think that whole bit is hilarious.
That bit is hilarious. Yeah, Tony's really great at playing up how much he doesn't like MJF and playing up the tension between them. It's so good.
Yes. And really, this was just Shawn Dean getting worked over by Shawn Spears until Wardlow makes his way in, destroys a whole bunch of security. Shout out to the Waves half of Waves and Curls, who got put through the barricade. And as Wardlow made his way in, and they made the signs bigger this time. I thought that was a good bit.
Yeah.
And as that distracted Shawn Spears, Shawn Dean catches him with the roll-up, 1, 2, 3. This time he pinned him.
Yeah. Man, look. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. I feel like Shawn Spears, not Shawn Dean, Shawn Spears has been slowly proving more and more why he was so hot with NXT as Ty, and why he was such an interesting signing for AEW. He's pretty good in ring, and I think he has a good entrance. Shout out to Josiah, really good entrance music. And I thought he was working Shawn over for most of this match until he got distracted, and then Dean pulled up the win. If this leads to the Infantry getting their first TV match against FTR, I want it, man. Get Charlie Bravo. If you guys haven't watched that promo video they did this week, it's so good.
Carly, that was great. I was very happy with that. Now, honestly, on the one end, I'm like, because they announced that it's going to be Shawn Dean versus MJF next week in a rematch, and on one end, I'm like, okay, is this where it all comes to a crashing end? But then I'm like, nah, y'all are selling T-shirts. Don't end it here.
I think he's gonna pin him.
I think if he doesn't pin him, I want him to like win via countout or something next, and like just continue to find ways to rack up the wins for Shawn Dean and keep him undefeated on TV. I will be there next week, by the way. I will be there at Dynamite in New Orleans. It'll be very hard to miss me once you see where my seats are. Because these are like really good front row seats.
Man, bring a Big Bean sign and shut up. I did not mention this, by the way, in our group chat or anywhere else, so this is a world premiere.
Uh-oh.
I actually sat across from that man eating beans when we went to dinner on Sunday night. I was in the building with him eating baked beans.
I have not heard this story.
We went to get barbecue one night, and
Uh-huh.
he did indeed eat baked beans. We went to get
I
barbecue.
missed because I left Saturday. This was on Sunday. You guys went out
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this Saturday? No, I think it was Sunday. It was Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, yeah, I left on Saturday. I missed Reg actually eating baked beans.
Yeah, we went to go get dinner before we watched WrestleMania. That's when it happened.
Damn. Can't believe I had to miss that.
Pretty good barbecue, by the way. Where did we go? Bone Daddy. That's where we went.
Yeah, this is and it's not to knock it. It's that there's not much else to it. This one gets like a B- from me, and really it's because I was actually gonna go with the C, but then I realized, you know what? The one piece we didn't talk about here, we kind of glanced over it. Wardlow is so over. They chanted throughout this match Wardlow's name. It was just Wardlow chants left and right, and I was just blown away at how over this man has gotten through this. This split has been really successful for Wardlow, and now they just got to get us to Double or Nothing at this point. There's nothing else to do. Double or Nothing, MJF, and Wardlow is the only place to go from here.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've executed his face turn really well. I thought his beatdown of all the security guards looked really good. The one guy that he repeatedly threw into that into that security door looked great. Yeah, I think he looks like a big monster in this, and I think they've done enough to keep him away from MJF. So when they finally do have that match, I'm guessing at Double or Nothing, it's going to be a big deal.
It is. It's feeling like a big deal now. Like people like really want to see him get his hands on it. So yeah, I was happy with that. And then of course Sean Dean's my dude. So
yeah, friend of the show for sure.
Yeah, friend Sean Dean. So gets extra points for that. Let's read some more super chats here. We've got let's see. Tom says, I still think Punk takes the title from Hangman, then Eddie takes it next, but no MJF title reign this year. I don't know who beats Eddie.
I don't agree. No MJ title reign. I think MJF will be champion very soon.
Yeah. Chris Raines says, I loved Joe bringing back the Muscle Buster. I know that popped me. I was really excited for bringing back the Muscle Buster. But yeah, I love how over Wardlow is getting. And then, of course, we have Best Friends unhappy with Wheeler Yuta, unhappy with everything he's doing right now because, you know, they brought him in. Like, you're staying on our couch, and all of a sudden now you're trying to get into the Blackpool Combat Club, but like also he's seeing success. Who can argue with it? And Trent doesn't forgive him. Trent is like, you know, he calls him a scumbag, gets in his face, and tells him he never trusted him. Which, if you watch BTE, that was always true.
Yeah, that was always the running gag on BTE. Yeah, I really enjoy the Trent and Yuta stuff, and I think for fans that watch everything, I think that's going to be a great treat for them to finally get that Trent versus Yuta match when they do it on Dynamite or Rampage.
Yes. And of course, Trent is going to be facing Bryan Danielson this Friday on Rampage. And Yuta is facing Jon Moxley in a match which you have to understand, for this night, everybody I've talked to who was there said that was match of the night. Which is insane when you think about what else they saw.
Yeah.
Yuta versus Moxley match of the night. Now, I saw a picture of a bloody Wheeler Yuta, and I thought, oh, it's like that? Okay. So,
I have thoughts. I kind of feel like Bryan is going to eventually turn on Mox. I don't know why, but I just kind of feel like he's eventually going to turn on Mox. Because I think everybody thinks, okay, well, Yuta's going to join, but I wouldn't be surprised if Yuta joins after Mox gets kicked out.
I mean, I don't know. If you've seen the picture, though, there is a picture from the end of the night at Rampage of Tony Khan raising Yuta's hand after the show was over and Yuta's covered in blood. And it's like, oh, damn. Like, it's like that. Like, we got that kind of main event out of those two, to the point of where Tony Khan came out and congratulated Yuta for the match he had. Like, I am...
Yeah. I think a lot of people's reservations to get into Yuta is that he just looks like another good guy that can wrestle. And he doesn't have, like, much of a character. But I feel like they've done a good job with this Blackpool Combat Club stuff of giving him a motivation and giving him a character outside of just being a good wrestler.
Yeah. Hey, keep talking for a second. I have to answer a phone call. Not a Sean Ross Sapp type one, but I have to answer. Scoops.
But yeah, I think everything they did in this segment with Yuta was good. I think, the stuff with Trent is going to end up paying off, and I'm curious to see where they go with this Blackpool Combat Club stuff as well. I don't know the results of the match on Friday, but my interest is absolutely piqued. If you're giving me mocks and more singles matches, I'm here for it. I hope that everything is all right. Man looked concerned at first.
Yeah, no, it was one of those. Yeah, it was my kids calling. And I'm
okay.
Yeah, so I answered on speakerphone, so I'm still visually here. Let's see. Then we did earlier in the night, which explained a lot, right? Because every time we saw these backstage segments, the backstage monitor was out, and it was like, why is the screen not working? And then they show earlier tonight, and it's a brawl between Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz with the Jericho Appreciation Society, and Eddie Kingston chucks the monitor at them, which is why for the rest of the night that monitor wasn't working. But that was, of course, earlier in the night, so like I thought it was funny that they like remounted it and just didn't have a working monitor.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, so that was a great little Easter egg throughout the whole night, and like MJF was like the only person to reference it, like when they were backstage, and he goes, "Fix this monitor." But yeah, Eddie Kingston throwing it at Jericho, as was said by Evan Wright, said that was an all-time moment. And yeah, they hit the ring, and they. I almost want this to be the name of this trio, but he said, "When I see you, it's on site," and I thought, yes, it's on site. I love it.
Man, you got to give Kingston so much credit, because he always will take something simple like on site or D's nuts, and he'll get it over. It's not like these are not things that anybody has never heard before. Like this is common. Right? This is common slang or terminology, and he'll just throw it out, and people will be into it, and people will be repeating it and wanting it on the shirt.
Yes, I actually, I want the Eddie Kingston "It's on site" T-shirt now, because when Eddie Kingston sees you, it's on site. Nah, this was great. Honestly, like, I was really into this first hour of the show.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, and like we kept going, right? Because then, at the top of the stage, Tony Schiavone introduces Jade Cargill. I thought this was Jade Cargill's career best promo. And that she came out there, she had the "that bitch" glasses on, and she pointed us to her baddie section. She even got old boy in, the dude who had the Hooters suit on, and he said, "Am I a baddie?" He was there.
Yeah.
He tried to sneak his head to the shot. That was great. Nah, honestly, I thought though that Jade Cargill had her career promo. She called out Marina Shafir, and I thought just everything she said was great. I was really happy with this.
Look, I feel like we have been on the Jade train since day one.
Yes.
And just watching her progress and getting more and more entertaining every week, watching her get catchphrases over like the "cut the shit."
Yeah, the Tony "cut the shit." I feel like we're about 2 weeks away from her going Tony and the crowd going "cut the shit."
Yeah, it's just it's so great. I mean, she's doing the Lord's work with this baddies section thing. Keep it going. I want to see it every week. But as much as I'm joking here, the way that people will say like the Bellas got more women into wrestling, or got pointing out like women are a focal point of the pro wrestling crowd, I feel like the baddie section is a good idea for that reason. It's such a small gesture, but it's one of those things that we need more stuff like that in wrestling, because we need the fans to feel included. And so when you've got by somebody like Jade as your champion doing that, it's great. And man, I popped huge for her, saying I'm sick of all of these MMA rejects. Get these losers out of here. I love that. You could take that how you will with certain MMA people coming in, with Paige Van Zandt and Ronda Rousey over at WWE. I loved it. I thought that was great because I'm sure that some wrestlers might feel that way.
Yeah, I thought this was really great, and I saw somebody say that it's time to break Mark Sterling away from her. I disagree. I think he is like
either.
the perfect like simp stooge, and like that's the best way to describe him to me is he is a simp stooge for her, and I have been just having fun with them as a pairing. But I think the more mic work she gets, the better. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be Mark Sterling. But like he doesn't necessarily need to do the talking, but I like her as just her like stooge behind her at every turn. I like this pairing. I like this promo. Vanessa Hudgens even liked it and tweeted that woman has 44 million followers. And the fact that she put that out there, just like Jade Cargill, I thought it was all great. I feel like the show was really like firing until the next match.
But man, listen, I said on an episode of Grapsody that I feel like Jade is the best women's champion in the company, and she is. I feel like she is slowly becoming a superstar. Like just watching her navigate stardom in Dallas and watching people congregate around her and watching the Vanessa thing. She's a superstar at this point, man. And you could all see it happening. You could see she has this aura about her. That's why I didn't understand why people were so dead set against her at one point.
Totally agree. I'm a Jade simp. So, if you were paying attention yesterday on the podcast they did on the Fightful podcast with Sean, I was wearing a Jade Cargill shirt. I very much own one, and I've owned one since like her first match. After the Shaq match, I was like in. I said, you know what? I see it. I was like, I see the vision. I see where this is going, and I am in on Jade Cargill. Yeah, but is she green? Maybe.
Green like money, baby.
Green like money. I'm glad she's even running with that. I love Jade Cargill. She's great. And we had the Hardys versus the Butcher and the Blade tables match. Whew. Okay, so a lot of this didn't work, and part of what didn't make it work was let's bring up our graphic again. How did I lose that? There we go. Part of why this wasn't working was I think commentary was confused on the rules. Like the rules were explained, I believe, solidly to the arena, in which they said that both opponents must be put through a table with an offensive maneuver. They never said that when announcing the rules that being put through a table means you're eliminated. But commentary picked up on being put through a table means you're eliminated. But like I feel like WWE has done matches, tables matches, tag team tables matches where it's you have to put both opponents through the table. That doesn't necessarily mean that either one's eliminated. That just means that you're put through the table. And so, of course, Jeff Hardy being eliminated meant that how did his move count as an offensive move? That was the big question people asked. But other than that, it was just like...
it was a mess.
Good. Yeah, this was a mess. This wasn't any good at all.
Yeah, it was very confusing to follow. I didn't understand the rules, and like you said, commentary made the rules even more confusing. It just wasn't executed very well. I mean... Yes, if you're going to give us Jeff jumping off of high things every week and smashing and, destroying his body for us, yes, I'm going to pop for him doing big swantons every week. And no, I'm not going to complain about that finish. The finish was still great, but the match itself was, it was all over the place.
Yeah, no, this wasn't good at all. The swanton looks good. You'll soon be able to put together a Jeff Hardy highlight reel, and he's only been there like 4 weeks. But at the same time, this was no good. And then I thought the ending, everything post-match was all very the same as we've already seen.
Another run-in.
It was Jeff Hart, Andrade's music hits, and then out comes Sting, and He points the bat, and I was like, we saw this like 2 weeks ago.
The best
And
part
we saw
about
this week before.
The best part about the run-in was Isaiah Cassidy coming out with 2 drinks. Freaking 2. Listen, Isaiah Cassidy is easily the most entertaining member of the AFO or the HFO before that. He's just so funny to me, man. I know that some people did not like some of his internet shenanigans last week. Shame on you, Isaiah Cassidy. That wasn't a cool thing to do. But this guy is still funny, man. He is hilarious.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to think of. I mean, I knew what to think last week of his internet shenanigans, but as far as the post match, like all of this just felt like, okay, it's time for something else for the Hardys, because we've done all of this. We did the 8-man tag already. We did the. We've done Private Party. We've done Butcher and the Blade. Andrade just beat Darby, so like we're kind of done with that. Let's move on.
Yeah,
this to me was a D+ only because I liked the Swanton, but I'm done with this.
Yeah, I'd give it a solid C, only because I feel like the finish kind of saved it from being a complete disaster. But yeah, I'm ready to move on. I think they're kind of dragging their feet and holding off because I feel like they're gonna build to Sting and Darby versus the Hardys at Double or Nothing or for a big match, but it's just a matter of getting there at this point.
Yeah. Got a super chat from Tom. Says, when Jade turns face, she leaves Sterling behind. Yeah, sure. At that point, like I said, I like her having the simp behind her. It's so great. And I think he is kind of a perfect stooge.
Yeah.
Speaking of simps, we saw Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm backstage, and the internet lit up as soon as we saw them from the side. And then we had it was announced Thunder Rosa is taking on Nyla Rose for the title at Battle of the Belts 2. Yeah,
look, AEW is feeding all of you horny Pog fans out there. With that match last week on Rampage, I saw some of you guys drooling over that match. Guys, come on, relax. And I feel like this matchup we're possibly getting with Hayter versus Storm is the same kind of thing. And I'm excited. I'm excited for that match. I'm glad people are excited for the tournament matchups. But yeah, come on, Mike. Come on, stop doing it.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out the tournament schedule, and I think it's all making sense now. In that, over the next kind of 8 episodes of Dynamite and Rampage, we're going to see these qualifying matches, and then it looks like May 11th the tournament begins. There's going to be 8 participants in the tournament. So then that kind of leads you into Double or Nothing. I don't know if Double or Nothing is just going to be the finals of both, or if it's going to be, because if it's the finals of both, it's only 2 matches. If it's the semi and the finals, then that turns into 6 matches on the card. I don't know.
It sounds like it's a finals, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's just the finals. But then what do you do with everybody else? I guess. There's a casino battle royale. There's things you can do there. Because I would like to see AEW's approach to like a star-studded casino battle royale, because it's usually kind of the upper mid card or lower card guys in those. But like kind of the appeal of the Royal Rumble is that the Royal Rumble is the stars of the company have come together and converged in this battle royale. And AEW hasn't quite done a straight up. JJ says, Mr. JJ says BPW lives on in AEW.
Yeah, like I said, I saw the responses to that Rampage match with Sky Blue versus Jamie. Guys, relax. Relax.
But yeah, I would like to see kind of just the same kind of Royal Rumble approach of like, here are the stars of the company. So maybe like the guys who don't make it any further in the tournament, because it looks like it is going to be a tournament of the stars. Maybe you do put them in the casino battle royale. I don't know. But next match we had was, and we're winding down on this show, we had Hikaru Shida taking on Julia Hart. Julia Hart, of course, made her way down with the Varsity Blondes entrance, but then told the Varsity Blondes, kick rocks. And commentary was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm gonna try something new here. And Shida comes out. Speaking of new graphics, I addressed the Acclaim's new graphics. Shida got all new graphics, all new colors. She's had the same stuff since I want to say All Out 2019 was when she first debuted the mirror lady. Yeah. And so she's had all that stuff a long time, and she got new graphics all finally. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm really happy to see that. And this was also, as I pointed out on Twitter, the second time Shida has faced Julia Hart. First time being at the James L. Knight Center in Miami, Florida. I was there. It was at the AEW Elevation episode that was taped after Dynamite Road Rager that year. So that was, of course, a very early Julia Hart, and so this was kind of a way to see what's changed since Julia Hart has been in the company. Also, nobody pointing out, her name's Julia Hart. This is the Owen Hart, the Owen Hart tournament, and nobody pointing out that, hey, no relation, but there is a Hart in here. And hell, as she's starting to turn heel here, I thought that would have been something like she would point out of like, this tournament belongs to me because I'm a Hart. They're like, but you're not like related to the Harts. Like, I don't care, I'm a Hart.
Yeah, look, I think the stuff that they're slow building this heel turn with her is good. I think that at some point they've got to pull the trigger. I feel like they've been doing this for 3 months at this point almost. I don't know if that's the exact time frame, but it feels like it's been that long. But yeah, of course I noticed the makeup coming from under the eye patch this week. I think it's pretty clear she's going to eventually take off the patch and reveal that, she's got whatever makeup under there and join the House of Black.
House of Black.
But yeah, I'm ready for them to just pull the trigger on it. I thought she did some cool things in this match, like the eye gouge spot. And I thought she pulled out some cool spots. But yeah, I'm ready for them to just go ahead and turn it heel.
Yeah, and this was like all about the turn, but ultimately, Shida's the pro. Shida is the OG of this division, and she's not getting past the former champ.
Yeah, I enjoyed the stare down at the end. I know some people say that they are tired of Deeb versus Shida, which I don't know how you can be. They always have good matches. I
guess the only reason I could say that I might be able to see where they're coming from is that this feud started in October and it's not over and it's April. So
yeah, but here's my thing. You can't say that you want them to do more storylines with the women and give the women prominent spots on TV and then be upset with the first really good long-term booking they've done with the women. Like, I feel like this is the best ongoing feud they've done with the women, period.
That's a fair point. And it has been long. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, didn't these two have a match in Boston in this arena? Like, it wasn't one of the matches here. I'm pretty sure that
I don't remember. Maybe
Shida versus Deeb took place. I think the first one was in Boston. Let me take a look at that. Again, it's one of those things where, like, in my brain, I'm like, well, you're right. You don't have to prove this. But I'm like, no. I have to be certain. It was the TBS title tournament in a Gaines Arena in Boston. Hikaru. So it was the second one, though. The first one was in Philly. Second one was in Boston, TBS title tournament. Hikaru Shida versus Serena Deeb. And yeah, I knew it because I remember. I don't know. Like I once said on this show, I have a thing for remembering the way the setting looked, the way the venue looked, and how a match looked inside a venue. So I'm like, of course I remember Shida versus Deeb. It was probably my favorite match. I think that was probably top 3 women's matches of 2021, and specifically that one. And so I remember the way it looked, and I remember because, like, the funny thing about a Gaines Arena is it has this really weird, and probably people noticed it last night. It's got this exit that's like right in camera view. So like there's like this big black block in the middle of your screen that all the seats kind of surround. And so every time they're in that arena, I always notice that. Whether it was the time they were there in 2019, where the Bucks faced Private Party, that match, also this arena, or when they were in this arena back in October, where, that was the Halloween one. That was the Ghostbuster stuff. That all took place in this arena too.
By the way, I told Reg this when we were watching Bits of Mania. I thought it was funny that people were so into that Jackass match and all of the goofiness of that match, but they hated the Ghostbuster stuff. That was very interesting to me. I don't know. And it turned into people having this conversation like, wrestling can be fun, guys. Lighten up. I'm like, but you hated that Ghostbuster thing. Interesting how that worked.
So we have BL Dog says, still not to where it should be, but it's nice to see more and more women getting their time. House of Black will be big for Julia, and Face Jade will print money. Agree with all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and of course, Shida and Deeb had the stare down after the match was over, and their one-on-one is coming up soon. Is it going to be in the tournament? I actually don't know. I thought no for sure, but now that, like, Shida's already qualified, and I don't know what else Shida's going to be doing.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I could see it being the finals.
Shout out. It says Will's memory is wild.
Yeah, I could see it being the finals of the tournament, and that's where Shida wins, and Shida wins the first tournament cup, and then she, of course, goes on to have the rematch with Thunder Rosa. But yeah, I'm not sure, but I can see it.
Yeah, I don't know. But what I do know, and this gets like a C, in that just because I love Shida.
I feel like it's a pretty average match. I feel like it did what it needed to do. It progressed some storylines. It actually progressed 2 storylines. So yeah, I thought it did what it needed to do.
But finally, the main event, highly anticipated, Young Bucks versus FTR for the Ring of Honor and AAA Tag Team Championships. There's a lot of gold on the line, and this was just, everybody was here for this. No dueling chance this time. This crowd was here for FTR. And I mean, there were some Let's Go Young Bucks, but for the most part, people were there for FTR.
Yeah.
How did they do second time around? Better, I thought. I thought that this was better than the love letter to tag team wrestling before. I think a big part of it this time around is that these two teams have successfully convinced a lot of people that they legitimately don't like each other. Now, is that the actual case? I'm not going to put that out there. But I will say that they have convinced a lot of people that these two don't like each other, that they can't stand each other's shit. FTR, of course, when they make their entrance, they even grabbed the Young Bucks confetti and spit in it and kicked it, and it was like the streamers, they were making sure that you knew, fuck these guys, fuck these little pricks, we're done with them. The Young Bucks had, of course, been tweeting all week long about how they're going to bury these guys. They've mentioned going to Lowe's and getting the shovels, which should have been the indicator that that wasn't going to happen. There were like actual supposed wrestling experts who were like, the Young Bucks are going to bury FTR again, just like they buried them last time, as if the Young Bucks winning the last match wasn't the right call.
They definitely didn't bury them last time. I don't know why people think that.
And like this time around, the dynamic is flipped. Young Bucks are heels. FTR are teetering on being baby faces. And the only reason I say teetering is because they still came out of the heel tunnel. But I think they came out of the heel tunnel because their ultimate face turn moment still has to come when they hit the big rig on MJF. That moment is the moment that they are officially baby faces. I think right now they're just kind of like working as faces, but like they're still aligned with MJF. But when that big rig happens, the crowd is going to explode.
the timing. If anybody's watching and wants to take cues from your boy, like I said, I would book FTR versus Infantry, and I would have MJF cost him that match, and that's when the big rig happens. I would love that because it would do two things. It would get you that moment, and it would give Infantry a moment on television. But yeah, I think three things worked in the favor of this match. I think them having a full capacity crowd and not having the limited crowd like they had when they had the first match helped a lot because the energy in the crowd was totally different from their first match. And then the Young Bucks are just better as heels. They are. I'm sorry, they just work so much better as heels. And then third, I think this is just a testament to how.
I think it was just hard at that time because it was the early days of AEW to really present anybody who started AEW because we're still in this period where like fans are just grateful for the existence of this company. It was really hard to present any of the elite as heels to the fans because it was like, well, they got us this. Why would we hate them? And I think as time went on, the fans were like kind of ready to boo kind of all of them. And the one that chose not to chose shit. The rest of them all took it, by the way. It was like hey, we're booing Kenny. Kenny's a heel. We're booing the Bucks. Bucks are heels. All right, now it's time to also boo Cody. Now we're going to be babyface.
Cody.
Over here.
Cody.
But either way, I agree with you. And that this was the match that we wanted to see from these guys, and now I just want to see it in a pay-per-view setting. They also smartly spaced the show out because normally the show goes like a good 20-minute stretch at the start of the show without a commercial break, but they went to commercial like 5-6 minutes into the show, and instead we got the ending stretch of the show went 15 minutes without a commercial break, and I thought we got the bulk of this match without commercials, and I thought that was really smart because in any other scenario that a match goes this long, it went 20 minutes, it would have needed 2 commercial breaks, and it didn't have it. So I was very pleased with that. I was also excited Bobby Cruz got to ring announce this match, and that was awesome. Wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah. I think
just the near falls were all really smart. This match was really about working over Cash Wheeler, and the Bucks, especially in that finishing stretch, really taking it to him. They kind of really beat the shit out of Cash Wheeler. He was almost pinned. He took the BTE trigger, and but he got his foot on the ropes, and Rick Knox saw it. But no, I enjoyed pretty much that whole finishing stretch, and the way it resulted in Matt Jackson taking the BTE trigger, getting the kiss on the cheek, and then getting the big rig. This was, I am, as a fan of tag team wrestling, I could not be in a better place in 2022 than I am right now. Are you shitting me? I am having so much fun watching tag team wrestling. They're all doing it.
Man, seeing tag team wrestling main event this show was a really good treat, and I think the heel to face turn with FTR is gonna end up being like the best thing that AEW has done at least this year, because I feel like they've executed this face turn so well, including all of the real life stuff, like them doing the episodes of Renee's podcast, everything from them saying they want that Young Bucks match and teasing it in the Battle Royal, and then getting it, and then getting their match with the Briscoes in the same week. I think that they've done such a fantastic job with the face turn.
Yeah, and they beat them. They beat the Young Bucks. They won. They
beat them clean.
And so it's like they. And the funny thing was, there were multiple points where I think the Bucks believably had it won. That belt shot on Cash Wheeler, I was like trying to convince myself it was like 1, 2, and then your brain just kind of stops time, and I'm like, all right, so then it'll be 2-1, or it'll be 2-0, but then they could still get a victory if they do the third one. But what cause would FTR have? Or they kicked out. Never mind. But
yeah, I kind of thought this was going to end in a DQ finish and they were going to come back. So I was glad that they just gave them the definitive win. And man, that spot of them going for the Meltzer driver and then clicking, that was so good.
And he caught Dax Harwood. Again, I've been saying all year long, Dax Harwood is becoming one of my favorite wrestlers. I love watching Dax Harwood wrestle. Yeah, that spot with the Meltzer driver where he catches Nick Jackson out of the air and Nick Jackson did his front flip. The ideas these guys come up with together, I mean, like, it is interesting that they can successfully convince social media that these two teams really do hate each other, but then can also be extremely creative in their matches together. And like, I would love, and you know what? I don't even want it for like 10 years, but in 10 years, I want the sit down between these four guys, and I want to talk all of these matches about how it all went down, what went into planning this stuff, like, because it's great. It's really great.
Yeah.
And Young Bucks fans mostly just don't care for FTR. FTR fans though hate the Young Bucks, and it's great. It is one of the few legitimate things in pro wrestling right now, and I love it.
I thought a very nice touch to this was their first match. They came out with the Boston gear on, and they had the 4 stars on it, and they won the match in Boston. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Again, there's not a whole lot more I could say about this. This was a lot of fun, and I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Yeah, this was a great main event. Man, this delivered. It would have been easy to come after that Briscoes match and give us like something like, you know, close to it. But I feel like this was, I don't know if it was as good as that Briscoes match, but it was pretty damn close.
Good, but I think
it was close.
If you give these guys another pay-per-view setting, and if you just do it at Double or Nothing one last time, I think you would get it, especially because Double or Nothing is going to be such a huge environment. I think you absolutely would get what you're looking for. Nah, this was a hoot. This is an A+ for me, and there's not a whole lot more I could say. How about you, Phil?
Come on, man. You gotta get this the S, man. Come on. This was
this one. All right.
This was a great match, man. I feel like this was a great main event, man, and I feel like it's got me even more excited to see where the tag division goes from here. I don't know if this means they're getting a rematch at Double or Nothing. Are we getting Red Dragon? I don't know, but I'm in. I'm in for whatever they do next.
Let's see. And, of course, two things I didn't talk about real quick. So, of course, it was announced that all right, so we saw a segment, Shane Strickland, at the – oh, look, I'm wearing my Swerve shirt right now. But Swerve, of course, is at the Grammys, and he was jumped by Team Taz. Or he talked about being at the Grammys. They brought that up. Because it's a big deal. Although they forgot one little thing to piece together. So he noted who he was at the Grammys for. Prophet the producer, who won a Grammy for his production on Donda. The one little piece they didn't stitch in there, and I guess this is one I'll drop on Grapsody, on Day After Dynamite. Prophet the producer made Swerve's theme song. The theme song he comes out to in Dynamite on AEW. That's his song. And I was like, oh, that was the one little piece missing there, was that, he was there to support the very person who made the theme song he uses in AEW.
Right.
And then I guess a little spoiler, because the Observer put it in their tweet that next week on Dynamite in New Orleans, Swerve actually makes his Dynamite debut in ring, because they're doing the match on Dynamite next week. Keith Lee and Swerve versus Will Hobbs and Ricky Starks on Dynamite.
Yeah, stop complaining that Swerve's not on Dynamite, guys. They always put the new signees on Rampage and give them the reps there. I don't know why people do this every time.
And honestly,
he's only on Rampage.
And if you talk to anybody who works Rampage, especially, talk to anybody who's been on last at Rampage, going on last, that's the main event. Getting to send the crowd home, getting to do the last thing for that crowd, that's how they see it. And so that's not quite the comparison to Dark people want to make it. And granted, I recognize anybody actually making that comparison is doing so in bad faith. But
yep.
That said, I'm excited for this match on Dynamite next week. And because this is a standalone Dynamite. Because Rampage is live next week, that means that Dynamite next week is literally just Dynamite. So this is going to be kind of a different type of taping that we haven't gotten to see in the past. And let's see. And Mark asked, if this isn't an S, Will, what is?
I think it's an S.
Like I said, as far as an S to me is concerned, I just feel like with an S, there's not a whole lot I would change. Or there's nothing I would change. An S has to have nothing I would change. And the only thing I would change here, that had a commercial break. That's like really
Come on.
Like, I'm like, that's really it. Is that if I could see, because like if I were seeing this match on pay-per-view, and that's where I think we'll get it next, we're gonna get it just straight through, no stops. We're gonna get a solid, just nonstop match. And so like it's really hard for anything that took me out of the match, and like I said, a commercial break kind of does. That's really the only thing I would change here. But I went A+. I can't be any more gracious to this than that. And that's really it. Let's see. We got a couple more super chats. Pile Driver Finisher says, a 6-woman tag where no one tags and Shida and Deeb are the only ones fighting. That would be actually kind of a dope idea. And Coffee Black says, shout out to the Grapsody homies. It really seems like FTR are having the time of their lives right now. I think they are on the run of their careers, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I had people at one point saying that FTR was overrated. I did a list for Bleacher Report one year, and I had them at number 1.
I was bring this up, looking at the chat. Multiple people.
Come on. Come on, Will.
I'm sorry. But no, I'm at an A+ on this one.
He's digging his feet in the sand, guys.
I'm sticking to it. It's an A+. But I'm happy with it. There's no complaints here. There's nothing bad about an A+.
Oh man. I told you guys my grade. Don't yell at me. But yeah, I think FTR went through this stretch when they first came to AEW where people were for some reason saying they were overrated. And especially like when they were number 1 on the PWI tag team list, and I just never really understood that. I think at this moment, like, those are the top 2 tag teams in wrestling right now. It's FTR and the Young Bucks.
I tweeted about what it was in that I had a long Twitter thread. If you haven't seen it, go to my Twitter, RBR, where I feel like what it was in 2020 when people felt like the FTR was overrated. I think it's not so much that it was I'm agreeing with that statement, but I do understand how it was mentally justified with people. I felt like in hindsight in 2020, FTR had so they came up. They were of course called up. I want to say 2017, right? It was when they got called up to the main roster, and then of course there was an injury. And in WWE, when somebody has an injury, when a tag team has an injury, one member of it, they just take both members off of TV. So then they disappeared for like a year, right? And then they didn't come back till 2018. And when they came back, they were doing the Uzi Hot stuff and all of that shit. Oof. And like they had a little bit of a stretch where they were paired with Randy Orton, but really, I think for the most part, they had just kind of been coasting off of their NXT run. That there was nothing done for them on the main roster that really like got them to sink their teeth into who they are and what they're here to do or anything. It was just kind of like we just dead dropped them into Monday Night Raw and they're just going to do their thing. And then, of course, they were unhappy with all of that. So they asked for their release twice, and they finally did get their release in 2020. And then they jumped ship to AEW in June, like right after Double or Nothing. And when they jumped ship, again, I felt like even AEW did kind of the same thing, except only using them. But they did kind of the same thing of like, these guys, and just kind of coasted off of the NXT stuff. And it wasn't until really this last year that they really just kind of turned themselves into, as opposed to being the kind of, before they were kind of the Southern bred, follow the rules, only fist tag team. Whereas now, in the last year, they've kind of redefined themselves as like a tribute to the 80s tag teams. And like, with the gear that they wear now, the theme music. And then we've gotten more promo work from them. We've gotten solid promo work from Dax Harwood. And I think really the first time we got that was when he cut that promo on Jungle Boy before their match. And it was like, okay, Dax Harwood's like really good at this, but then Cash is really good at this. And then of course Cash had the injury with his arm getting caught on the I don't even want to talk about it, but yeah, that disgusting injury he had. But again, great promo work, getting to know them personally. We kind of got to feel them as people, and I think that's the part they were missing. It wasn't so much that they were overrated 2 years ago, but I feel like people had no connection with them 2 years ago. And I feel like people hadn't had a connection with them really since NXT. They hadn't had a reason to connect with these guys since NXT. And that was 5 years ago. Like, they left NXT in 2017. That's a really long time. And it's not like this was a televised NXT. It was WWE Network NXT. There's no way that show was doing more than like 200,000 people at best every week. And so, like, it wasn't like it was something that there was a huge audience for. And I think just a lot of people weren't really understanding what the hype or appeal was behind FTR or the Revival even, other than these are guys who had had a few great matches in NXT. Like, these are the guys that they faced American Alpha, did really well with, and faced DIY, did really well with. But for the most part, what did you really, like, know about them if you weren't following NXT? And I feel like now that we've gotten to know them personally, I think that's turned everybody's eyes around, and they do now feel a connection with them. And really, if you look back at their NXT run, I don't feel like they're anything like that anymore. I literally went and looked at some old stuff just to watch some old stuff recently, and I was like, wow, the way they strut now, the whole presentation of these two, the gear, all of the homages they do with the gear. They did the NWO gear. They've done
the ROH gear this week.
The ROH gear. They've done some great stuff. Just all of the homages they do with their gear. But then the music just kind of gives them this new attitude that they haven't had before. They're not we go hard. Oh, they are not. Yeah, they're not those guys anymore. It's a very different presentation.
They don't even do that same handshake. So yeah.
Yeah.
I love what they're doing right now. And again, I just think that I can't say enough about how good those episodes of Renee's podcast was, because it wasn't like we usually see with tag teams. Like, they had them both come on separately. And shout out to my guy that we saw over the weekend, Emilio Sparks. He produces that podcast. So, man, they're just great congratulations to Emilio and Renee on what they did with those two episodes.
Yes. And, of course, the chat is talking about the one thing we didn't talk about, which is Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti, who got booed out of the building once they kissed each other. But, like, Sammy doing all the sign stuff, but this time with Ty. I have said for a long time, this isn't just a thing I've said for AEW, because I used to say this back talking WWE as well. Nobody wants to see baby faces in a relationship. Like, you don't. Like, it's okay to, like, know it exists, but typically on screen, relationships typically, I don't know, kind of bring people down. Like, I remember, and I say that in the sense of, look at Daniel Bryan, right? That Daniel Bryan, I thought they were actually harming his likability the more they put Brie on screen with him. It's like, we know they're in a relationship, but honestly, there's still a macho-ness to pro wrestling, and I think really all of the top couples in pro wrestling history have all been heels, because that's kind of a thing you do as a heel. It really hasn't.
Macho Man and Elizabeth, he was a heel for some of it. But I feel like some of his most beloved moments were with Elizabeth by his side.
Yes, but then when you look at Lita and Edge, Hunter
well, I
and
mean,
Stephanie,
there was stuff behind Lita and Edge.
Right, but you look at Hunter and Stephanie. Hell, you look at Triple H in China. You look at Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, and even in AEW history, Kip and Penelope, I feel like when you present couples, it's one of those like, I think, and here's another person it really hurt. Seth and Becky. That, when people talk about what brought Seth's babyface run down, a lot of it was that. Now, granted, it was also who they were facing, but I think a lot of people were cool just like knowing the relationship existed, didn't necessarily need it thrown in their face on the show itself. And I think it did harm his perception.
It went on too long. Because the thing I will say, when they had that mixed tag match, which was like the winner take all match, I don't remember which pay per view that was, but when Corbin hit
Extreme
Becky,
Rules?
I think so. When Corbin hit Becky with that deep six, and he looks straight into the camera and goes, "What are you gonna do about it, you little piece of shit?" and stuff beats the hell out of him. I thought that was great.
And now I have to look that up to be certain. Of course, this is one of those things. Why am I doubting my own fucking memory? Yeah, there.
I think you're right. I think it is Extreme Rules.
It was, yeah, Extreme Rules 2019. But either way, as far as we're concerned, and that's I don't think this is right. And yeah, like I said, because somebody pointed out in the chat, Jungle Boy and Anna Jay, like that's a couple we know exists.
But they're not on screen.
And like you can and like it's even been referenced. Max Caster's taking shots at it, but we don't need it thrown in our faces. Like it's okay. And
I think the cue card bit has gotten old too. I don't think that it's funny like it used to be. I just think that it's not really working. I feel like Sammy is kind of holding on to some babyface things that are just not funny anymore. And I think that.
And the weird thing is, the cue card stuff was also like a heel thing that he did too. Like that's the other thing too, is that he's only been a babyface a year, but he did the cue card stuff since AEW launched. So I don't know. Hey, so I, of course, being day after Dynamite, gotta mention the ratings. Today's rating came in at 989,000. Oh, by the way, Mark says, I don't think it's that they're in a relationship. I think that people are hating these two specifically because of the circumstances wrongly. There's that too.
Yes and no.
I know he's specifically referring to the fact that he is no longer with Pam, and people have their theories about why that is. And so that has kind of turned people against Ty Conti. Because, yeah, you did put the proposal out there publicly, and I think that people were so attached to that there's a lot of wonder about why we're no longer attached to it.
I will say this, and this is me going into a patented rant on this episode, on my debut of the show. Treat women better, guys. Like, I just think the way people have made Ty out to be this whore and this home wrecker, like Sammy can't make his own decisions. She didn't drag him into anything that he didn't want to do. You don't know how their relationship ended, and frankly, it ain't our business. So no, I don't think that trying to make her into a bad person out of that is fair. And I also just really hate stuff like the Lambert stuff where he's calling women whores and stuff on TV. We just don't need that. I personally hate it.
So I'm looking at the quarter breakdown, and I know these don't come out till tomorrow. So the two highest quarters of the show were the second quarter, which saw, and I'm talking 18 to 49. The second quarter, which was the end of the Cole Christian stuff, and then Adam Page, and of course Samoa Joe's in-ring debut. That quarter did really well. And then the second highest quarter was the last bit of Young Bucks and FTR. So I think that makes perfect sense to me. Otherwise, there were 3 quarters that averaged over 1 million viewers, and then everything else was like in the 900,000s. But anyway, that's it for Day After Dynamite. Thank you, Phil Lindsey, for being here. Not that I won't be talking to you in less than 2 days on another podcast we do. Except
we do another podcast?
Yes, we do. And you've done 3 podcasts in the last week. But anyway, we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Peace.
Peace.